Good to see that. Uh, Let me turn on the light. It looks a little bit dark in my background. Okay, much better. Hopefully that's better for you guys. So I'm gonna get started soon. I'm gonna get started with this outlook. Do you see a little bit of a dollar push thus since the weekly outlook? So I'll go over kind of what I'm seeing. Still not seeing too much what I want to take, but I'll go over the market. I'll go over it. And we can take a look at what's on and what is available for the upcoming 24, 48 hours. And let's get started. Okay, let's get started now. So dollar index. Um, those of you, we know that I was looking at this two different way. Okay, there is two different way that I was looking at this. And I think weekly outlook, if you guys recall, I was also saying this possible structure is also a possibility. That's why I was saying that in this area that we're at now, uh, we want to be a little bit more careful and kind of see what the market is telling us and act accordingly. Okay, and we do have this push. If we do see the last bit of the price action for the last bit of hours, we had a little bit of news event, I believe was Trump, right? He made a comment about the stimulus bill, and that caused a little bit of a stir in the market. However, we as technical traders, we don't want to get sucked into this right away. Whereas yes, I do see, the merit behind this. I was looking at the bullish on dollar anyways, right? We have this descending channel, we had an impulse, correction, impulse, and then we had another correction. This looks like it can continue to the upside. Yes, it does. And if there is a lower time frame correction, if there was a lower time frame kind of continuation correction, I do think the buy here is okay. However, like I said, I'm also looking at it just at what the overall structure is telling me, what the overall higher time frame structure is telling me. This is a daily now that I see this impulse, correction, impulse, and then another correction here that we're forming. So who to say that the price can't just continue up here, potentially hitting the top here, and then we're looking for the next down? That is also a possibility as well. So personally, I would be just a little bit more careful. I do see short term or even really in a day or so, we could see this potential bullish push. But I want to just see what the dollar will do on this area. And are we going to continue upwards, or are we going to uh, get corrected by this structure here and then potentially dropping down like this? All right, so that's why I want to be a little bit more cautious. I want to be a little bit more on a sideline for this one. I don't want to just jump into it right away and see what the market will tell me in upcoming days or so. All right, so that's my view on the dollars. So I'll go over a few dollar ones. I think there's some of you guys got into this one. I'm not sure. Did see that in my Telegram chat, right? We had this over impulsive move. We had this longer correction, and this to me is a double top. We had this kind of a descending channel, sorry, ascending channel. So impulse correction, impulse, and on the lower time frame, we did had a clear continuation correction. So if you're in the trade, I do think this is a valid one. The only thing that I would tell you to keep an eye on is when the price gets to this low, definitely either move your stop to break even or to some profit, because this can easily just kind of bounce off to the bottom here and then potentially move up one more time and drop down like this, just making a larger structure. That's all to correct this overall move. And I just don't, based on experience, I just don't think, or not don't think, I don't see this as all the correction we need to correct all this down move. I wanted to see a little bit more structure develop here and looking for the sell somewhere in this area or the first kind of impulsive move and then looking for a lower time frame correction. That is always going to be a little bit more safer. You have a little bit more structure developing, and it's going to give you a little bit better risk reward as well. Okay, so that's what I see on Aussie dollar. Let's move on. So Kiwi dollar, very similar than Aussie dollar. If we look at the higher time frame, I still see this as the overall ascending kind of a channel structure, and price is correcting here. And if we zoom out here, we could kind of see this as a head and shoulder pattern. We have this M style pattern double top here as well, so very good to reject the previous higher time frame double top. And if we look into the lower time frame here, yes, we had this kind of a bearish impulse move from the news. However, structurally, I don't see this as the only correction to correct this overall down move. What I want to see is same thing as what Aussie dollar is, just let it trickle down and then perhaps pop it up to again, forming a little bit bigger structure, and then looking for the sell from here and still seeing that head and shoulder pattern as well. So that's what I see on Kiwi dollar, and I just want to be a little bit more patient. It's not that these cannot go, just like Aussie dollar. It's not that these moves cannot start going. It's just that personally, I'm waiting for a little bit more confirmation from the market. Okay, yes, in a probability sense, this can go down, right? But I just want to give myself a little bit extra confluence when I enter these dollar trades, especially they're all a little bit corrective in that sense that, so dollar index, like I said, yes, get that bullish push out, but are we going to get some sort of reversal from here? And I don't want to enter a trade where I might not be able to get 3-to-1 risk reward, and it's better off me to just stay off the positions. Okay, so that's what I see on that on Kiwi dollar. Let's move on to Euro dollar. So Euro dollar, and we're looking at this as a pretty clear kind of ascending kind of channel structure. So if we look at on a higher time frame, we had this reversal structure from the top, and we actually get this impulsive move. And looking for a correctional structure to develop here. Looks like it is, and just want to wait a little bit more. I don't see this as the overall move as well. I want to see a little bit more breakout and a little bit of lower time for continuation. And this could be very similar like the Aussie dollar trade that some of you guys got in. You can see a head and shoulder here as well. But again, I want to see what the price will do in this general area. This can again form me a larger kind of structure, right? So when I see something like this, I understand that there is a short sell possibility, but I just don't want to jump into it right away. And then I just want to don't get a really tight stop loss and just trying to hit the lows here, and then you see price slowly bounce back again and take you out, or just taking all of your potential profit. Okay, so a little bit more patient here. Okay, so that's Euro dollar, pound dollar. Pound dollar potentially was a potential sell here. Not sure some of you guys got in. There was some news event during that time, and then we see the impulsive move down. Looking at this one forward, yes, I do see this as an impulsive move, right? This was a correction I was talking about, and then, but now that we're forming this a little bit more complicated structure, is that we can see this price pop down to here, to the lows here, and then again reverse back up, right? There's also a possibility like this, and just making this as a larger kind of a continuation structure for this move, and we can still get the next down move. But again, looking at this from a higher time frame perspective, what I don't want to say I don't, what the price action is telling me here, there's a potential negative confluence because we haven't break out of this overall structure yet, this higher time frame kind of longer structure, and we're potentially seeing this as an inverse head and shoulder as well. And when I see this head and shoulder or inverse head and shoulder, when they're at the bottom or at the top, they're usually going to be higher probability that the price will reverse because it's a reversal kind of structure, reversal kind of pattern. I just don't like what I'm seeing here. Okay, a potential, yes, he can break down a little bit more and then just forming a right shoulder here and potentially move up like this. And we didn't really break the higher time frame structure either. So how would I manage this? Well, this does look like ascending channel. This does look like it's going to go down. So if it's going to go down, let it go down. I would just wait to see what happens if it break out of the structure, and then some sort of confirmation correction here to continue the sell. Because I don't need to worry about not getting into the trade. If we look at this on a higher time frame perspective, wait for the breakout, wait for a correction, wait for the next sell. I still have lots of room to the downside. I'm not worried about missing, potential 50 or 100 pips or so, right? I'm still gonna get these next couple hundred pips if I'm gonna get in this one. So that is pound dollar. All right, so let's move on. No other dollar really seemed to get to me. Dollar CAD, I'll go over this quickly because there's some of you guys asking about this one. So I thought mention about what I see on dollar CAD, sorry. And originally, if you guys recall, a few weeks ago, I was still looking at the dollar bullish. Then I still see this as the descending channel, right? Descending channel and another descending channel. Pop to the upside, continuation correction, and then pop to the upside again. So looking like it's going to continue. And when I see this structure forming, and then I was mentioning that, hey, we're at the top now. I will only be interested if we continue higher and then lower time frame correction to continue the high. But instead, this becomes a reversal structure. Now you see price quickly get pushed down to the downside. And we really zoom in here, you can see that price popped to the downside, and then was looking like it was going to form a correction to continue lower. And then instead, we're kind of stalling here, and then we had this news event, and then price pretty much impulse to the upside now. So I really wouldn't just jump into the trend now, guys. I think some of you guys were potentially looking at this as a long. Yes, I do like the long. I do like the dollar bullish, but I didn't see any kind of a reversal yet. I didn't see any kind of a bullish price action. This could be just all the news event. And then during Asia, it might correct itself. And then during London session, we can potentially still drop down like this. All right. So I'm still going to stay on the sideline for this one. Still not quite clear in terms of where it's going to go. Right. If you look at the higher time frame, just solely look at the higher time frame, then I do see this as the impulsive move, correction, and impulse. Very straightforward like that. But if you zoom into just the recent price action, we are getting some bullish activities, okay? So this could be some sort of longer term kind of a correction, and then still pop to the upside. Okay, when I'm not sure about in terms of what the correction is doing, what the price action is showing me, then I'm usually going to stay out of that one. Can you look at algo later? Yeah, I can look at algo. Once I finish all the currencies and the ones I'm going to talk about. So let's look at Aussie CAD. So Aussie CAD still, to me, is that could still have that potential bullish push. We know that we broke the previous double bottom here and then price impulse up. So this could be just a correction that it's going to form, and then we can potentially get the next bullish price continuation. And in the weekly outlook, I mentioned just not going to be interested in the buy here, just waiting for the breakout and then continuation like so. If this is going to trickle down like this and see what the bottom here, then still, if we're going to see what the price will do here, is it going to reverse and get more bullish activities here? Then, accordingly, looking for a buy here is still good, okay, because you're getting a rejection of the higher time frame structure, and every time when we hit the lows, we're usually going to get that next impulse. So, waiting to see what the price will do in this general area is going to be it's going to give you the best risk reward. If you're looking for a buy from here, then this buy would be awesome. All right, but for now, I won't just jump into here. It was forming a correction here, but you see the latest kind of price due to the news event, it's slowly kind of trickled down a bit. So be a little bit more patient on this one to see what the area, what price will do in this area before consider anything here. Let's look on to a few yen pairs. I think a few of these yen pairs also had that move from news. So Aussie yen, for example, Aussie yen, we can see that similar structure is still kind of forming here, right? We had this ascending overall channel. We had that first breakdown, first continuation correction, and then the next bearish move. So we're looking at pretty much the similar thing here. We're getting this bearish push down, and price potentially is forming a continuation correction here to continue the downside. So how do we kind of determine when to exit or when to enter? Well, point out the lower time frame, we see this impulsive move, and I'm just not seeing much correction here or any kind of structure. This looks like an M style pattern, but I don't see it as a confluence to me. If we look back to what the price was doing previously before the COVID drop, you see that the price is forming some sort of a ascending channel or parallel channel that's a little bit more tangible, a little bit more structurally to be correcting for this down move, and the next down move can happen. Just personally see that this can come down here again and then just making a larger structure. I just don't see that as a structural completion just from this move alone. So if you're in a few of these yen pairs, which I'll go over pound yen as well, I think pound yen was talked about as well. I just want, when the price reach to this low here, it's really crucial that you're going to either move your stop to break even or take some profit, because this area is where likely a lot of sellers who get into this area will likely to take profit, because they will know that the structure, a deeper structure is likely to be created before the continuation downside, because this move is pretty massive and I haven't seen a correctional structure to correct this move yet. and that's why I will be staying on the sideline again, waiting for a little bit more development on the yen pairs. So let's go to pound yen really quick. Pound yen, please zoom out here. Still see this as the overall impulse, correction, impulse. And if we really look at what the latest price action is doing, it's forming this ascending kind of channel. Whereas if you look at the previous yens, they're not really forming any structure. This is a steep kind of just a bullish push up. There's no structure here. So that's why I expect a little bit of structure to develop more for Aussie yen. But whereas pound yen, if you see this as an impulsive move, and we're correcting ourselves in this ascending channel, which means this is the actual structure to me rather than the one that we just saw earlier. So for this one, if I do see a breakout here, okay, and then some sort of lower time frame continuation, this will be a better valid sell than the Aussie yen I just talked about. So looking at this as a more midterm kind of approach, okay, because higher time frame wise, we're pretty clear where we're going, right? Higher time frame, we had that impulse correction, waiting for the next impulsive move. So this is the impulsive move on the lower time frame, and then lower time frame kind of a correction, and looking for the next down move like so. That's what I see in pound yen. I don't see it dropping down anytime soon now. Okay, I don't see it dropping down soon. In fact, I'd rather see it correcting a little bit more. And the longer and the deeper this correctional structure goes, the better it is for the next down move. That's pound yen. So let's talk about Euro Aussie really quick. So Euro Aussie, recall I was looking for a sell up here, and I think some of you guys potentially got into the sell. I was talking about this was the first potential sell opportunity, and then we began to form this structure, and I was looking at to see if price is going to reverse from here to continue lower like so. Did not happen, so that's fine, no trade for me. But looking at this still, I still like the overall structure. I still see that this is a higher time frame impulse. We're just seeing a larger continuation correction. And this last bit of price action is to me is that this is not the down move to continue. We need a little bit more structure so this can develop into an M style pattern, which is what it's on its way to do. So I will be paying attention to see is the price going to stall in this area? Is it going to be showing reversal price action? And pretty much looking for the next down move to push down. Okay, so that's Euro Aussie. Looking for EuroCAD. So EuroCAD made a post here last time, seeing this as the overall impulsive move on the higher time frame, and then this is the corrective phrase. And because we had these few tops, we're potentially seeing the top here on the overall channel structure, and we had this impulsive move on the lower time frame. So just whether or not is this a correctional structure to correct this move, and we can get the next down move. All right, so waiting for this one to happen, waiting for a confirmation to either break out and then lower time frame correction to get into trade like this. And we'll see what the price would do at this near bottom. So that's Euro CAD. Euro Kiwi. So very similar like Euro Aussie. I was in this trade. Those of you guys who follow me, I mentioned about this was the trade that I was in. Got in this and was able to get out of here about 3-1 risk reward. Very happy with the trade. When I see this descending channel for me in the weekly outlook, I mentioned I moved my stop to just above this area, right? Because I can see that this could be a reversal structure, and this move alone cannot would not be the sell-off that I was expecting. We need a little bit more structure to form here, and very similar like Euro Aussie I just mentioned is that we could potentially see, we could see this as that M style pattern I talk about once again. So price is on its way to the top, looking for a double top, looking for the top of the overall structure, looking for the reversal from here and going down like this. So making this an M style pattern. And overall, still liking the higher time frame, still liking this as a clear impulse, clear continuation structure that's developing, looking for the next down move. Well, that's Euro Kiwi. And that is all the currency pair I'm talking about, or at least I'm looking at for the next 24 or 48 hours. So any question on those, let me know. If not, I'm going to jump into commodities. So no question. Let's go on to gold. I think gold is looking good now. If you guys recall, there was a position I mentioned about the sell here and then taking off the take profit around this area because I was talking about that knowing that the price will likely to react to this low and then potentially this can be a bullish push up, right? This is also a possibility. If we look at the higher time frame, this is daily now. Who to say that this wouldn't be a continuation structure for this overall up move, and we could potentially see the next up move like this. This is definitely one possibility. Whereas if we look at the intraday charts, when we look at the price action now, is that when I see an impulsive move and then the price did not continue upwards, instead we have this reversal impulse, and then we're just in this higher time frame kind of a continuation correction. We have this impulse, correction, impulse, right? We reached the low pole now, and price looks like it's forming that ascending channel once again. And we see this breakout here. I personally didn't get into this, but looking at this, we had this impulsive move, we had this correction, but right away price break the previous top and then pretty much form an M style pattern on the lower time frame and drop down like this. So did not break the previous high, and this could be that ascending channel. And can the gold continue to push down? Well, definitely not going to jump into the trade now. There's no risk reward for me to jump into this trade. Whereas if I waited to see what the price will do in this general low area, is it going to impulsively break below? Then look for a lower time frame correction. That would be my sell here. If not, it will break the low here and then continue up higher like this, just potentially making a larger structure, just like all the dollar pair that I mentioned, and this can still go down like this. Okay, so if you're not in the trade, don't just jump into the trade now because you're just catching, you're trying to kind of catch a falling knife. Okay, even though if you're selling, but what if it just forms a deeper correction? Then you just take you out of your trade and still go down like this, and you'll be hating yourself to enter a position that's with such a short stop loss, and you're just kind of throwing money away in that sense. All right, so be careful, be patient. If you're not in the trade, don't get into the trade because the trade already happened. All right, there's no point for you to enter a trade here, put your stop above here, whereas you're just targeting here or so. Right, it's not even one-to-one here. All right, so that is gold. So any question on that before I jump into a few indices? I want to go over most of the indices. I do see them pretty bearish and maybe making the structures that I want to see. So potentially we can see more continuation, which is good. Okay, that kind of give you the bias of the dollar strength as well. All right, so let's go over them if there's no questions on gold. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue to the indices. I'll go over a few of them that looks pretty decent for the short move, okay, for the sell move. So a few of these European ones. So German 30, mentioned about that breakdown here, and then when I mentioned about there's forming a descending channel, I didn't realize that it could obviously extend into a larger channel. Okay, the descending channel obviously from this time before was looking like it's going to have that bullish push, which it did. But now you can see that price is more as a corrective movement. No, it's not really impulsive. So this looks to me still very good. If we zoom out here, that we had this impulse from the COVID and we slowly climb up here and we begin to form this parallel kind of channel structure. And we had this first move down and potentially a first kind of a correction to continue the push. Okay, very similar like Euro 50. I'm gonna just quickly browse through those one. We have that impulsive move. We had this push up and then parallel channel. First kind of a bearish push down, and then again bearish kind of continuation correction to push down more. Hence 40, again same idea, impulsive move down, and then finally getting a little bit more corrective phrase, corrective structure, potentially pushing down as well. So those are the European ones. I'll go over the US ones. And if we look at this just from if we zoom out a little bit on NASDAQ, okay, just zooming out here a little bit, we know that we're overall this kind of descending, ascending channel that means that the price has been in since pretty much mid-April, And last bit of price action, every time, this is a lot of time when I see indices moving like this, you have this ascending, kind of a steep ascending channel within the larger ascending channel, and you get that first impulse down. Very sharp, very strong, very strong. And after that, usually it's going to be a period of consolidations. We already had a strong push down. It's not likely to just continue down in that kind of a same fashion. It's likely to form a longer period of continuation correction. So how I like about this is that we're at the previous top. Okay, looks like the price is forming something. Could be a kind of an expanding flat kind of a structure. You can see that over here in this area, price is forming a potential head and shoulder pattern as well. And this could be that kind of a reversal structure that I always talk about at the top of the overall price action. And this could be continuation. So if it develops some sort of lower time frame here, I won't be interested in the Asia session or London session. In the New York session next day, if it's going to develop something here, that would be ideal to me. Okay, that would be ideal for me to see what the price will do to once it gets to this area. There could be a potential decent sell opportunity in this area, and if we see really strong momentum breaking out of this low here, then I do see the continuation. Okay, so very similar like S&P, very identical pretty much, right? We have this overall ascending channel, we have a ascending kind of a price action, we have the first impulse down, and then price is stalling at the previous top once again, and looking like it's forming some sort of a reversal structure like so. Breaking out the structure, pointing a lower time for continuation. Yes, I do think this is pretty likable and valid, and looking for the sell down to the lows here and see if we get that breakout and then continue the sell. That's S&P. So Nasdaq S&P looking very clean to me. Okay, um, and if we look at VIX, okay, VIX is just, I don't really trade this, but I look at it to just kind of give me a confluence to the S&P, right? Because this is pretty much mirrored to S&P, right? If we overall look at the price action, we had that bullish push up, and then pretty much we're just being this kind of consolidation period. And don't discount the fact that this can still be a continuation. It doesn't have to be formed right here to continue the move. Sometimes we see price action had the impulse up. It will drop down, but it's still forming some sort of structure and then continue upward. I see this quite often as well. So looking at this is for me, looking at this overall bullish kind of a push, can't give you that extra confluence if you're looking for the sell on S&P. All right, so that is VIX. So look at any question on the indices, any question on the ones that I'm looking at before I jump to the crypto last. I'm going a little bit fast today because I really haven't, I'm really, well, I'm not in any trade right now, and I don't really see any trade I want to get in anyways. Okay, so I'm not, nothing looks like it's going to be popping up anytime soon for me to enter anyways. So I'm just kind of browsing through the charts, browsing through what's happening, and just looking for a little bit more development on the price, looking a little bit more movement on the market, and then looking to capitalize it on a few days later and then go from there. Okay. So let's look at crypto. So Algro, yes, let's look at Algro. Personally, not seeing too much on Algro, to be honest. I don't see much in terms of structure price action here. It looks like it's kind of just a period of consolidation. There was this kind of a descending channel that I mentioned maybe a week ago or so, or 2 weeks ago, and was looking to see if there's going to be a bullish push up above the structure. Did not happen, so that's why I don't see this as a continuation now. Just seeing that price is likely to be consolidating here a little bit while longer. And if you want to look for a short-term kind of thing, what I see here is just we had this impulsive move down. This is potentially a correctional kind of ascending channel, and we had that push down and then continue down like so. But it's already reaching to the lows here. Okay, that's why I don't even see much of a buy or sell in either direction. Just want to see a little bit more development before I consider anything. Dash. So Dash, we still look very interesting to me. I'm still looking for that confirmation breakout from this overall kind of a pattern. I still not see that. Still not seeing the breakout on the lower time frame. So I'm still going to be waiting to see if the price is going to continue upwards, and then looking for a lower time frame correction to get in. Let's look at Link. Link is still looking good. I mentioned about Link pretty much every stream I talk about, but it's just not ready for me, at least for my kind of a take, my kind of style. I still want to see that confirmation breakout. This can just continue lower a bit, right? Hit the previous low or the bottom of this overall higher time frame structure, and then still have a reversal kind of movement from here. That's why I just won't be messing around with. I won't just be jumping into the trade here, even though this could be the impulse correction impulse. But waiting for the confirmation, waiting for the breakout of the higher time frame structure, and then lower time frame continuation is always going to be the safer side, so to speak. Okay, it's not that I get this question sometimes. It's not that this buy isn't good. You know, if you have the good risk management, you have a good risk tolerance, that taking these buys is also valid. It's just that you have to understand that sometimes when these buys, when they hit the top of the structure, it can drop down and then continue the bullish move like this. So I'd be prepared that something like this can happen, right? Whereas my take of the breakout, a confirmation out of the structure and confirmation, it just adds the confluence to my trade. It's safer. It may not be the same risk reward, right? You might get better risk reward than me because you get in lower than me, but my overall setup is going to be the safer one to continue. I'm not worried about missing this much pips, right, or this much profit. I'm more leaning towards the next potential move to the upside, right? So missing a little bit of money here, it doesn't matter. Okay, so that is Link. So this Ripple one, I think pretty much took me out here. I was mentioning this yesterday in the Telegram that somebody was talking about Ripple, and when I was looking at, I talk about Ripple and Ripple Bitcoin a lot of time in my stream, and they pretty much have the same price action, and obviously you're only going to take one of them if you're going to jump in like that. I think yesterday they were talking about that, is this a continuation correction? To me, it really is. Okay, to me, this is a clear kind of a move. We zoom out here. We had this impulsive move correction, another impulse, another correction, and really much just looking for the next impulse. So when I see this overall lower time frame, this potentially is a inverse head and shoulder, left shoulder, head, right shoulder pushing up, and even dropping down to 1 hour. You had this overall kind of a continuation structure with pop to the upside, and was forming a pretty clear continuation structure as well. So in this case, to me, just picking Ripple or Ripple Bitcoin, and I decided to go with Ripple Bitcoin because on the lower time frame it did break out of this structure here, which I like, whereas Ripple Dollar did not. It's just kind of in this area. So that's just kind of my decision factor on this. But you see, either way, whatever trade you got into, if it's going to continue upwards, it's going to continue upwards together. If it's going to reverse, it's going to reverse down together, right? So there's nothing to it. Is if you get in the trade and get stopped out, that's part of trading, and I'm fine to take a loss here. I'm fine to accept that loss here, and looking at this as potentially this can just develop into a bigger structure, and I will still be looking for a buy because the buy is always going to be the best risk reward in this one. Right? We're at the bottom of the overall price action. If you look at here, which is at the bottom of this overall channel, we had this beautiful kind of descending channel, impulse, correction, impulse, larger correctional structure, looking for the next impulse. And zooming out on the weekly or on the higher time frame, you see that we really have so much room to the upside. Price was way above in during these periods. So we're at the very low here. So there is a very good chance we can start getting that reversal. It may not be now, it may not be the position that we took just now, but it will likely to develop into that, and still looking to capitalize it. Right? Don't just be like, oh, I took a loss here and I'm gonna just put it on the sideline now. I'm not gonna look at this for the next weeks, right? You take a loss, understand why you take a loss, work on that. So understand that, is there anything wrong here? Is there anything else you can improve? If it's not, then there's just a good trade that gone bad and price just needs a little bit more correction structure, and look for the next correction to go. Okay, so that's my take on Ripple Bitcoin. Yeah, that's a good question, John. A shoulder can be as long as the inverse left shoulder. Well, it can be anything, right? It doesn't have to match the left shoulder or right shoulder in any way. You can have a left shoulder like this, head, and then right shoulder just continue up dribble like this. This is still head and shoulder, right? This is what I meant by don't don't just look at the textbook head and shoulder and think that must be the head and shoulder. The way how I see head and shoulder is really just really the swing of it, right? Okay. And this can be easily developed, like you said, this can be developed into something like this. This still can be a right shoulder like this to continue, right? There's no proper way to measure a head and shoulder structure or pattern, whatever you want to call it, right? Yes, you're going to get this textbook thing where you're going to read it all the time over and over again. But is the price action always going to show you a textbook structure? No, it's never going to show you a textbook structure because the market is ever evolving, the market is ever moving. It's never going to be textbook. You know, when you see it on the charts, when you see it on someone's lesson, it looks so easy, so clear, right? But when you see it on the actual price condition, there's actual market movement, it's going to slightly differs. Sorry guys, someone is like mourning the law. It's actually pretty loud from where I am, so hopefully that doesn't affect you guys. So yeah, that is it, guys. That is pretty much all I'm seeing. So like I said, I'm still looking to see what the price will do in this one. Okay, waiting to see a little bit more development here and looking to get in as well. Okay, this can be the same kind of correction structure that I'm going to get in something like Ripple, just as an example. So you see that when you have a higher time frame structure, we had that breakout and we had this breakout, and looking like it takes a little bit longer to form a continuation correction, so likely to do that the same and getting to the next impulse. All right, so that is how I see on this. Okay, so that is what I see on Ripple Dollar. Any question on any of these? Any question on any of the crypto or any of the currency pairs that I went over? Yeah, you can see the whole complete video in YouTube later. I apologize, I'm kind of just was a little bit sudden to do a stream. I was a little bit busy earlier. Usually I will update that earlier. I apologize on that, on the time and stuff like that. But obviously I will upload all this into YouTube, and I'll put the links here as well, those of you who are interested. So that would be easier as well. And happy to answer any questions, guys. If you guys have any questions, happy to answer them as well. And those of you who are from my Telegram, that's very good for you guys. There's a lot of interaction going on. Okay, there's a lot of engagement going on as well. So that's very good. And I do like the overall enthusiasm from everyone. I do think everyone is beginning to feel a little bit more comfortable to talk or to post, which is good. You know, there's nothing wrong with a post, right? There's nothing wrong with an analysis. If you post it, everyone will take a look and everyone can discuss it as a team, and everyone can give feedback, right? It's not right or wrong. If you're learning, then get out of your comfort zone, right? Don't just expect things will click for you right away. Things will not click for you right away. It's just how trading is. Imagine you're doing a university degree on being a doctor, right? Being a physician. It's gonna take 7, 8, 10 years to become a profession in that profession, right? So take a little bit more time if you need to, right? Ask questions, right? Interact with others, right? That's how you're gonna learn. So um, other than that, guys, that's pretty much it. Happy to answer any questions though. If you guys have any questions or any pairs you want me to go over again, happy to do that. Personally, not in any trades anymore, so I'm just pretty open on this one. Are there any good price action trading books you can recommend? Personally, I didn't read any books, I'll be honest. How I got into it is really just free information, right? Today's age, everything is free, guys. So don't I might it's just controversy, but I can say don't just pay someone's course or lesson right away. Do a little bit more research on your own. Okay, in terms of information, guys, there's all kinds of information online, right? There is pretty much, it's going to teach you already. Personally, use TradingView, right? Use YouTube. It's all free information. Look at other people's posts. Look at other people. Are they talking about price action? Are they doing the same thing as other people doing price action? Right. That's from TradingView. In terms of posting or analysis, go on YouTube. Go on YouTube to see is there any educational videos or content on this matter. Right. There's going to be many that are free, myself included, if you're ever interested. And kind of start doing back testing. Get all these information in your head. Open a sheet, open a doc, write down everything that you have learned, and then start back testing them, start reflecting on the market itself. Hey, I'm going to zoom back to, couple years ahead, and then kind of looking at the price action and see, is that showing the same kind of price action structures and pattern? Is that how the market has been moving? Right. And that's, the more you see the same kind of patterns and structure that plays out, the more that's going to give you a better confluence in your trading ability, because you know that I see this open over again, I see this impulse, I see this correction, I see the next impulse, right? The more you see and the more you acknowledge that, trading will be a lot easier, because you're just looking at the same thing over and over again. Okay, there's nothing changes, right? Nothing changes from previous price action till today's action, because you just have to understand that is how the price moves. Okay, it doesn't move 100%. Nothing is 100%, but it does move. It gives you a higher probability to uh, capitalize on a trade, on a movement. Okay, on a movement of the market. To break it down even more clear is that you're looking for confirmation from the market, right? You're not looking for, like, a lot of new traders are like, okay, I'm gonna buy here, I'm gonna sell here, I'm gonna capitalize the entire price movement, which is pretty much impossible. Okay, they may not admit it, but it's pretty much impossible. What you want to do as a trader is to look for setups, look for what the price action is telling you. We had this impulse, we had a continuation correction. I'm looking to get into the next impulse, right? And you're not looking to pretty much hold the trade to the moon. You're holding the trade to see what the previous top is going to tell you, right? If you're going to jump into the buy here, you'll look at what the previous top, right? That will be a potential target, because you know once the price hit that target, price is likely to either reverse or consolidate, or just kind of does this thing where it's going to tag you out for some profit, and you don't want your trade that was in profit suddenly lost half of its profit, because price is now forming a deeper correction now. Okay, and that's how price action works, guys. It's just looking for an edge in the market and just trying to get in and get out, and then continue do this over and over again, so your trading account can start growing. Your trading account will grow in a compounding effect, right? So exactly, free information, be consistent with few good online mentors. BTC, yes, I didn't go to BTC, so I'll go over BTC now. Yeah, I'm just really looking out for everyone. Like, I mean, there's so many, I don't want to say scammers, so I just want to say people who are selling things. Okay, let's put it this way. I don't want to say scammers, because I don't know them. I don't know if they're good at trading or whatnot. But the way trading has been advertised or market is a get rich quick thing, right? I think everyone knows that. Social media pretty much shows that everywhere, right? You have some guy who nice car, nice house, or some guy showing you some sort of account that has a bunch of money, right? Or some sort of their results on their trade, whether that's a demo account or a fake or a real, whether that's really their account or not, it really doesn't matter, because the only point that they're trying to tell you is that trading is easy, and that trading is easy if you follow me or buy my thing, and then you're gonna get this result. That's the only thing that they're doing, that, right, guys? So a lot of new people got sucked into this because um, that's just the day we're living in, right? So glad that people who do go on TradingView, go on YouTube, who have a little bit more knowledge in trading, will understand that trading is not easy, right? Trading is the hardest thing you would do as a career, and you really need to put in the time and effort, really need to learn, and really need to be humble about it. Okay, and backtest the strategy, backtest your style, whatever strategy you use, right? Make sure you're confidence with that, and make sure you don't just take 1 or 2 trades and then you lose and you move on to another strategy. That's a lot of beginners do that once again, right? They'll learn some basic understanding of strategy, and then they'll do it, and then once it didn't work out to their favor, they're gonna start jumping to another strategy, and they're just jumping to strategy again, blaming the strategy for their losses, right? They're not blaming themselves, right? That's how people in nature, they don't blame themselves. But if you don't admit you did the mistake, you're not going to be growing as a trader. You need to understand you made the mistake, and you need to acknowledge it and move on from there. Okay. Bitcoin, right? Yes, let's talk about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, I remember on Weekly Outlook, I mentioned this one as well. I mentioned that originally I was looking at this as a potential sell. Okay, that we had this kind of a reversal structure. We had this first push down, and I was looking at some sort of a correctional structure here to continue at least to the lows here. Okay, I won't be holding a trade any more than this, because I know this is just a correctional short-term move. But whereas what I'm seeing now in terms of higher time frame, that this could just develop into a larger structure like so, that we have this impulse, correction impulse, which is forming a deeper correctional structure before the next up move. Okay, so that's why I'm not too interested in the sell or buy. Okay, yes, you can, if you're talking about a short term, yeah, maybe there's a potential sell opportunity here. There's a decent ascending kind of a channel. Okay, that this could be just a small impulse. This can continue, but it's usually going to be short lived, because this piece is not too clear. This can still be a reverse continuation structure for this, or it could be that daily structure that going down could be something like this. Okay, so it's not too clear to me on where it's going to go. So definitely not looking to jump into it. Okay, so that's what I say on Bitcoin. Did I go over euro dollar? I did not, but euro dollar is not on my watch. Usually is not during this time anyways, and I'll explain why. It's because I have that bias. I mentioned this I think a few times, is that I have the bias of dollar strength, and I have the bias for the yen strength as well. And when I see that, when I look at dollar yen, it's usually not too clear. Okay, it's just going to be a period consolidation in my opinion. Okay, there was a period consolidation in this area as well. So really not looking into buying or selling dollar yen, to be honest. This to me is pretty messy. Okay, I was saying that there was a potential buy move when the price hit the previous kind of a double bottom. And then if you look at the lower time frame, there was a pretty clean kind of setup. I think I went over this in the Telegram last couple of weeks as well, that we had this overall kind of a descending channel. Very corrective price action structure. We pushed down, we hit the previous low, so a double bottom here, and we had a first push up on the lower time frame, first continuation correction, and the price started pushing up. That was the only buy that I thought was pretty valid. I didn't get into that, but that is only buy that I saw when the price was in this area. Now that we already pushed up so much, and I'm not seeing any kind of continuation. If you want to call this a continuation, it's a little bit messy. Okay, I'm not seeing too much of a structure here. Instead, it's very kind of a sideways price action. You have some news events only like this, and then you quickly just retrace back up. Okay, so not too clear what it's going to do. Okay, and again, because I have the bias for the strength in dollar and yen, and that's why I'm not into buying or selling dollar yen, especially during this, I would say, volatile time. Okay, because of the presidential elections coming up for U.S. and a bunch of these news happening, regarding Trump and himself, right? So I don't see too much movement in here until really from a higher time frame perspective. The only thing that will make me a little bit more interesting is either price drop down completely to the lows here, and I'll be looking for maybe a reversal buy from here, or just waiting for price to continue push up above this higher time frame structure and look for the correction here to buy. Other than that, I'm not looking to sell, I'm not looking to buy at the current price action in this area, just waiting to see a little bit more development. All right, so that is what I see on dollar yen. Any other ones, guys? Any other questions or any ones you want me to go over before I close down the stream? A little bit haste today. If I'm concerned with the volatility of the election, are you hesitating on all dollar pairs then? Not necessarily. What I mean by volatility of the election, it means that there's going to be volatile in the market, meaning that you better have a good risk management on how many dollars you're going to take, or are you going to take all the dollar pairs or something like that? Okay. Um, Personally, if I'm going to get into the dollar pairs anyways, I'm just going to take $1 pair or maximum two, right? That's just within my risk management plan anyways. Not looking to, take all the dollar positions if they present themselves. It's rather about just taking one or two, or usually just one in this sense that has the best risk reward and the best setup at the time, and just getting into that one. And if you think about it, the volatility is not going to take your trade out. It's just going to create more momentum. It's going to create a lot more liquidity in the market that the price will move. Okay, so it's not depending on what the result will be. It's more about when there is going to be an event such as that, when there's going to be a lot more movement in the market. I'm just trying to uh, capitalize on some of the move. Okay. Hey, trading safety. Nice to see you again. Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Can I go over gold setup at the current price action? Sure, I can. So gold, I'll go over gold like from beginning to like from scratch. Sorry, on the higher time frame. Okay, I'm just gonna explain this from the beginning. From the higher time frame, okay, that there is obviously a chance that this can be some sort of a continuation correction. Okay, after this clear bullish move, this can be a continuation structure to continue push the gold up. Okay, that's one possibility. Whereas if I'm looking at the intradays, we're at the lower time frame now. Lower time frame wise, we had this impulsive move, we had this correctional structure, we had another impulsive move, breaking the previous low, and instead of kind of continue push higher, which what I was expecting or what I would see in this sense in terms of price action, instead we had this kind of a more corrective structure, right? More kind of ascending corrective structure. And if you look at the lower time frame, we had this impulsive move down. Okay. I personally won't be jumping to this now, okay, because we already dropped so much. If you're going to get in, it's probably something here rather than here. Even if it form a correction here, which is likely to do if it's going to continue, to me, I'm not even going to get 3-1 in this, I don't think, and I'm not looking into selling it. Whereas, yes, there's going to be a good chance, of a higher probability chance that this sell can happen just to the lows here, uh, and then kind of see what the price will do. Is it going to break out of this previous low and then continue lower, or is it going to just form a recent double bottom here and price start continue upwards now? Okay, and then looking to see if it continue upwards, is it going to get some sort of rejection or reversal here to potentially pushing down and making this a larger structure to correct this move, and then we're seeing the next down move like this, right? So to me, the dollars and this gold one, it just needs a little bit more development. I just don't see enough development here to even call a long or a short. Okay, I do see the short here, but it just doesn't make sense for me to be entering such a low risk reward kind of trade. But if I continue down trickle here, breaking the previous low, and then start forming bullish price action, then yeah, because where you're buying at the very low of the higher time frame structure, you're potentially going to get the next push up, right? That buy will always going to be more valid, okay, than the current sell that's going to happen, because you can just see that price is not breaking below or not continue lower than this area. Who to say that this can continue dropping like this? Okay, if it's going to drop like this, just wait to see it break lows, then wait for that lower time frame correction. And then that will just give you a better risk reward. That will just give you safer kind of entry criteria to be able to capitalize it. I found a lot of new traders, when they see a move happen without them, such as this, they feel like the fear of missing out, right? They miss out the trade, they're in all kind of emotion, right? They're trying to jump in the trade here. They think, I missed this much already. I'm not gonna miss any more, and they're gonna jump into here and then just kind of slowly pull back and peg them out, and then still drop, right? And then they're just gonna experience more emotional drama, right? So that is gold. That's it, guys. Any other questions? Any other anything else you want me to go over before I close it down? Pound dollar, yeah, I can. I'll go over it once again. So pound dollar was looking at this, obviously a strong bearish move and potentially forming a kind of a reversal, a lower time frame reversal structure within this higher time frame structure. This is all good. But I mentioned this in the beginning when I went over, is that I have two negative confluence on this, is that we're still in this overall higher time frame structure. We did not break out here. Okay, we did not break out. That's one negative confluence. I see that for the continuation. And I also see that this is a inverse head and shoulder pattern potentially making. When I see an inverse head and shoulder pattern on the overall bottom of the price action, it usually gives you a better kind of probability that the structure, the reversal structure, will play out. Okay, it's not saying that this won't continue lower or anything. It's just that when I look at the chart, when I look at the analysis, after I find all the positive confluence, I'm going to start looking at for the negative confluence. I'm going to start weighting themselves and see, do I have more positive confluence or do I have more negative confluence? Usually, always, if you enter a trade, you better have more positive confluence than negative confluence, right? So, but you are trying to find the ones that are going to have the least amount of negative confluence. Usually, a trade will never have zero negative confluence. There's always going to be something. But if you have a lot of positive confluence, it pretty much just counter those, and you're gonna have a better trade overall when you have least amount of negative confluence, right? So when I have these ones in, whereas a few of other ones seems to be a little bit better, but it just takes a little bit more time to work out, right? Especially a few dollar pairs. Whereas pound dollar looks like it can be ready and start pushing down, but the other dollar pairs I'm looking at still needs a little bit more time. Then I'm happy to let this one go. And then wait for a little bit more structure to develop here and see from this point of view. Okay, so that is pound dollar. Which should we watch closely within the week? Like pairs, okay. Not too much, to be honest. Unless the ones that I mentioned, all these green ones, you see that nothing is really on my main watch list because I do think they just need a little bit more development. That's why nothing is really on my watch if you really ask me. Okay, and that is just how my trading style is, guys. I'm just not looking to take 100 trades a month, really. Okay, whereas a lot of traders are just over trading or just taking a lot more trades where it's okay to not take a trade in a day or 2 days. It's fine, guys. You don't always have to be in a trade. I even see someone talking about their goal per day is 100 pips per day. I don't know if that's a good goal to have, to be honest. Okay, that means that you're going to be always entering trades every day. But are they going to be the best trades? Are they going to be trades that fit your trading plan or strategy or style? Maybe, maybe not, or they don't fit necessarily. But because you're trying to chase that 100 pips or so, and you're just jumping into a trade that you're just trying to get that 100 pips. Right? I don't think that's a very good way to measure your profitability and things like that. Personally, I measure it based on a month kind of thing, right? Per month, what is your growth, right? How much percentage of it did you make, right? In related to your account size, right? Because you make 100 pip a day, but what is 100 pip? Like dollar CAD 100 pip versus euro pound 100 pip is totally different in terms of dollar, in terms of base currency, right? So your 100 pip will vary depending on which currency pair you chooses. That's why I think as an overall monthly goal per month, in terms of your profit, in terms of percentage, is a better way to measure to track your record. Okay, that's how I see on that. I have a sell on euro dollar. Do I think it will go lower? I mean, I went over this in the beginning. I do see your sell merit, right? This is an impulsive move. We have a correctional structure. We have this kind of ascending kind of a channel structure, and you can see that price did not continue upwards from this correction. Instead, this becomes an impulse reversal correction, and then we're seeing a correction down. Impulsive move down. What I see this potentially is it can make a head and shoulder pattern to go down, or just drop down and making a lower time frame correction to continue. I mentioned this in the beginning, but I would just again to see what the price will do at this low once again. We can pop to the downside and then pop to the upside again, making a larger structure before the next down move. Okay, I think this short trade is valid if you're in, or if you're looking for a breakout and then lower time frame correction to go. I do think it's valid, but I just don't think it's going to be long-lived, meaning like I'm seeing the continuation like this. I just don't see, I don't see this as the only correction out of this move, and then we're going to just see a drop like this. I rather see a little bit more development here, and then once price is developing into something like this, there's a reversal price action. We push down, and I'll be looking for a continuation correction here, or wait for the breakout and then waiting for the correction to continue like this. Okay, so if you're in this short trade, I don't know where you enter, but look to move your stop to break even or in some profit once price reach this area. It can break the low a little bit and then start getting a bullish push up like this. Okay, so that's what I see on euro dollar. All right, guys. So that's it, guys. I appreciate everyone jumping to this one. I know it's a little bit haste once again. Sorry, I got caught up with things. So I try to be a little bit more ahead of myself to tell everyone when these will happen. So appreciate everyone and appreciate everyone to watch this one. And I will do another one in 1 or 2 days or so. Okay. So hope to see everyone next time, and have a nice day, everyone. Thank you.